In Lesson 7.3, you will find the area of composite figures. Composite figures are figures that are made up of two or more shapes, such as these. Over here on the right is just a review of the formulas for the shapes you have learned in previous courses or earlier this chapter. Example 1 says find the area of the composite figure. Notice this is a semicircle or half of a circle and a triangle put together. So the first thing you're going to do is find the area of the semicircle. You're going to write down the formula for a semicircle, which is pi r squared divided by 2, or 1/2 times pi r squared. And then right below the formula, you're going to plug in the appropriate numbers. The radius is going to be 3 because the radius is halfway across the circle. So if all the way across is 6, halfway across is 3. Then you will figure out what 1/2 times pi times 3 squared is, and that's about 14.1. Then we're also going to find the area of the triangle. Remember, a triangle is base times height divided by 2, or 1/2 the base times the height. The base and the height are perpendicular to each other, so 6 and 11 are your base and height, so you will plug those in below your formula and then get your answer. And then since this is made up of these two figures put together, you need to add those two together and you get about 47 1/10 square meters. You may want to pause the video and try the next few on your own. The first thing I'm going to do is divide this shape up into two figures. I'm going to go ahead and divide it like this. Now I'm going to find the area of this piece right here. This piece, the area, since it's a rectangle, is length times width. I'm going to make that a cursive L so it doesn't get confused with the 1. So the area is going to equal 12 times 12, which means the area equals 144 centimeters squared for that piece. And now I'm going to find the area of this rectangle down here. This rectangle area is also length times width. The area is going to equal 18 times 6. That equals 108 centimeters squared. And now to find the total area of this figure, you're going to add these two areas together. So 144 plus 108 . That's 252 centimeters squared. I forgot the squared on this label up here as well. Now our next figure, we have a semicircle and we have a rectangle. I'm going to go ahead and start with the semicircle. The area of the semicircle, sometimes I like to just draw a picture of what it is rather than write out that it's a circle. Area of the semicircle is equal to pi r squared divided by 2, or 1/2 times pi r squared. So the area of the semicircle is going to equal pi times the radius. The radius is going to be 7.5. Since the diameter, this is 15, so the diameter is also 15, which means the radius is 7.5. So pi times 7.5 squared, and then that answer divided by 2. So I'm going to go ahead and grab a calculator to do that. that's going to equal about 88.4 when it's rounded to the nearest tenth. So about 88 and 4/10 meters squared. Now I'm going to go ahead and find the area of the rectangle. The area of the rectangle is going to equal length times width. So the area is going to equal 15 times 7. 15 times 7 is 105. So 105 meters squared. Now the area of the composite figure then would be to put these two together. So 88.4 plus 105. That's going to equal 193 and 4/10 meters squared. All right, our next example, this can be divided into a trapezoid and a rectangle. So let's start with the area of the trapezoid. Area of a trapezoid is going to equal 1/2 times the height times the sum of the bases. So the area is going to equal 1/2 times the height. We need to figure out what the height is. If from here to here is 13, that means from here to here is going to have to be 7, because 13 plus 7 is 20, since they had this side as being 20. So 1/2 times 7 times B1 plus B2. Well, that's the two pair of the parallel sides. So 20 is base 1, and base 2 is going to be 25, because this length right here is the same as this one. So now if you want to go ahead and calculate that, that works out to be 157 and 5/10 inches squared. Now the second thing we have is a rectangle. So the area of the rectangle equals length times width. So it's going to be 25 times 13. 25 times 13. Go ahead and calculate that with your calculator. That's 325 inches squared. Now we're going to put these two together. This plus this, when you add those together, that equals 482 and 5/10 inches squared. Now the last type is going to be finding the area of a shaded region. In the figure at the right, 4 congruent triangles are cut from a rectangle. Find the area of the shaded region and round to the nearest tenth if necessary. Well, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to find the area of this rectangle before the corners are chopped off. So that area of the rectangle is going to be length times width, or 12 times 5, which is 60. And then we have 4 triangles that are cut off, and they're congruent. That means they're the same size. So the area of the triangles is going to be the base times height divided by 2 of the triangle, or 1/2 times the base times the height. And then that answer is going to be multiplied by 4 since we have 4 of them. So if you look over here, this piece right here is for one triangle, and then we're going to take that times 4. The base and height of the triangle are both 1. So 1/2 times 1 times 1, and then that answer times 4 gives us 2. Now this time, instead of adding them, we're going to subtract, because we took those and cut them off and threw them away. So 60 minus 2, or 58 square inches, is the area of the shaded region. You may want to pause the video and try the next one on your own. 2 rectangles are cut from a larger rectangle. Find the area of the shaded region. Round to the nearest tenth if necessary. Let's start by finding the area of the large rectangle. That area is going to equal the length times the width, which for this particular rectangle, here's the length. It's going to be 13, and the width is 7. So I'm imagining the rectangle before those corners were cut out. So 13 times 7, that's going to be 91 centimeters squared. Now we're going to go ahead and find the area of these pieces that are cut and thrown away. Area equals length times width. Area equals 4 times 3, or 12 centimeters squared. And then this little itty bitty guy here, that one is also a rectangle, so it's going to be length times width again. And it's going to be 2 times, I think that was a 1, yep. 2 times 1, or 2. And now, since these are thrown away, we're going to take the whole rectangle, or 91, and then subtract 12 and subtract another 2. And you will end up with 77 centimeters squared.